Hey everyone, there's a balance patch for Cross Duel. With the new season upon us, we are getting a balance patch for Cross Duel. Now, straight away, I'm going to let everyone know Zed Metal Tank has not been hit. I didn't expect it to be hit though. Zed Metal Tank is a really good option for free-to-play players who have not yet been able to get all those extra copies of the Ultra Rares. So, whilst I do think Zed Metal Tank will be hit in the future, because Konami is going to want you to get the other Ultra Rares to play them, and, you know, are you going to even want to when Zed Metal Tank is in the game? I don't think it will be hit in this patch, which it hasn't, and I don't think it will be hit in the next patch, but I think after that, it may see a hit. Anyway, let's get over to the changes. So, first of all, focus. Focus, I don't think is getting as much of a buff as you might think. It's just changing from, at the beginning of the battle phase, your monsters gain 200 attack, and now they gain 200 attack and defense. There aren't really many defense position monsters that have focus on where the defense is going to matter. I would need to have a quick look through all the monsters to double check. But where this will matter is with Leviathan Dragon, and we'll see that a bit later up the top. Now, the big thing, I think, here is Inventor, where the Inventor archetype in general is getting a buff, where now rather than activating Inventor 4 or more times in a duel, you only need to activate it 3 times to get those double procs, to get those cards that you need to activate. This is a big thing, and I've done some stats on it, and I will get into that later on in the video. But one thing to kind of note here is, say you summon your 4th Inventor monster, your 4th proc of the Inventor, and you summon like 7th Road Magician on the same turn, they both count as the 4th. 7th Road will not activate and get double proc from its ability. It needs to be activated on the turn after. So one thing this immediately means is you can summon 3 Inventor monsters on your first turn, and then from your second turn, any Inventor monster you summon is going to get that double proc. Whereas previously, you would need to actually spend 2 turns summoning Inventor monsters, and then from the 3rd turn onwards, your monsters would get their procs. That is a big deal. It's not a massive... I say it's a big deal. It's not a massively big deal, but it is big enough. And like I said, I've done some stats. We'll get into that later in the video. Right. Next one, Rise in Energy. So this has changed from when one of your attack position monsters with focus battles an opponent's monster, all your monsters activate focus, to now just when one of your monsters with focus battles, it can be an attack position or defense position. I don't think this card has necessarily gotten a buff. I think it's just been changed to now fit with the fact that focus now increases defense as well as attack. I still don't see this card being played, ever. Even in a Leviathan Dragon deck. I feel like, reinforcements would just be better overall. You're still going to get 200. You can't switch your monsters that are already going down the lane into attack mode. It's like, what's 200 points of power going to matter? It's probably going to... If this does proc, it's going to hit, 4 monsters on average? That's 800 attack and defense. Where you may not necessarily get to utilize both the attack and the defense stat. So, yeah, I still don't see this card being played. Scrum Force, however, if there were 2 or more monsters with 2 or more level 3 or lower monsters, all your monsters gain 400 attack and defense, and the attack immunity to attack defense reduction is being buffed to it gaining 600 attack and defense rather than 400. I think this card already saw play in a Stardust deck. But it wasn't necessarily that much stronger than Reinforcements, for example, because Reinforcements is going to give 400 to your monsters, and it gives it to a stat that matters. The defense stat is not necessarily going to matter. It might, but it may not necessarily matter. So with this now giving 600 to all your level 3 or lower monsters, we might see this in other decks, maybe the Inventor deck, that does have, a decent amount of monsters that are level 3 or lower. I still don't think we're going to see it in any other deck than the Stardust deck, but it does buff up the Stardust deck and that kind of archetype, meaning that it's going to be a little bit better. Dark Revelation. So Dark Revelation, again, is getting the inventor proc thing buff, where it only needs to have procced 3 times rather than 4. Which means, hey, you can play this on your second turn, rather than needing to wait to your third turn, if you get, and that's only if you get the inventor monsters that you need. I have played the inventor deck a fair bit, and I can definitely tell you there were times where I had not procced it 4 times, and I needed to proc it 4 times. Oh, I say you can use this on your second turn if you have summoned 4 inventor monsters. Yeah, I guess the difference now is you can use it on your first turn. Not that I think you'd want to, but again, there have been times. I have done a bit of math, so I will kind of show you later on just how much better this has become, or how much more likely that you can play this, that it has become. Needless to say, this was already a 5-star card for Inventor decks. This is just now even better. Now, 7th Road Witch. So that one monster with Inventor in your graveyard and return it to your hand has now become randomly select 2 monsters in your graveyard with Inventor and return them to your hand. This is a lot better. 7th Road Witch was fine before. It was usually like you get back your Go Golem, or you get back your X-Head Cannon. But it was still like you're sacrificing a monster for Witch, which only has 1600 attack. It's probably not going to beat anything by itself. And it's still not. But now you're just getting a lot more value off of it. You're actually gaining value. Rather than it being kind of a 1-for-1, you are now actually gaining value for this card. And it becomes one of the big reasons, and again, to play Inventor decks, because you are now, this is another card where you're just gaining a lot of value from it. And yes, this card can get back 7th Road Magician as well. So you might get back 7th Road, another low-level monster, and then you only need 1 more monster to get it out again. So yeah, this definitely helps the Inventor deck a lot. And this might actually put it up in my mind from like a 3-star card to a 4-star card. Right, Junk Synchron. This one's a big one, actually. Originally, select 1 level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard, return it to your hand, apply negation to its skills. Is now, select a level 3 or lower monster in your graveyard. This is quite big, because even like a generic deck that just has a lot of good stuff in, has at least a couple of level 3 monsters. And it might also have like some level 2 or level 1s, but not enough to actually play Junk Synchron. Now I think Junk Synchron is actually playable, not just in like the Stardust deck, but in almost any deck that even just has a couple of like level 3 monsters in. Yeah, you might get to the point where you draw it and you might not have drawn any of your other level 3 monsters, but you can just use it as a sacrifice at that point. And this is definitely a case of like, swapping out a couple cards in your deck, putting in the 1800 Shark card rather than this, or just, changing it slightly just to get that maximum value off this card. But yeah, this has actually become a lot better of a card now. And yeah, I definitely expect to see it in more than just like the Stardust deck. And it's just, again, buffing up the Stardust deck. Next one, 7th Road Magician. So this is basically the same as the other one, where you now only need to have procced, or done it, procced your Inventor 3 times rather than 4. This means you can summon this turn 2, whereas previously you could not summon this on turn 2 and get that extra proc of its Inventor ability. Again, this is a nice buff. We're going to get into exactly the stats for this a bit later on, but I think this is the last Inventor deck, but overall Inventor decks have just been buffed across the board. And I think the second to last one, Leviathan Dragon. So now Leviathan Dragon, in tune with the Focus buff, is now saying, hey, all of your monsters now gain 100 more attack and defense, rather than just 100 more attack going like when it's on the board. This is actually a lot better with Focus. Like when you're doing a Focus deck, this is actually a lot better, because now when this is on the board, you can draw into your 2k defense monsters, and they will gain 300 defense per turn as well as attack, which means they are going to be able to utilize their defense a lot more with their attack. I think this is still like a little tough to work out how good this will be. It's definitely a lot better. You can definitely play defensively at the beginning. Leviathan Dragon itself, unfortunately, does not have any defense. It will gain defense, but it will not be able to block anything. So it's a bit weird how you want to play this, right? I kind of almost feel like you want to play it in the middle lane, or wait until you don't think you're going to be attacked in the middle lane, and then play this. It's tough, right? Because you either have to choose a side lane, At which point, if your opponent didn't summon a monster, they're going to go, okay, I need to deal with this monster before it becomes too powerful. They're going to start attacking you, which means it's going to get like 1 turn in defense, maybe 2. But if you hit it on the middle lane, if you manage to get it in the middle lane, your opponent is not attacking you. Your opponent is very unlikely down the center is very unlikely to attack you, because he knows, hey, this being alive is going to put a lot of pressure on the side lanes, which is going to take pressure off me and allow me to attack the side lanes more. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. It can be very, very good, or it can be just alright. And I feel like if you do manage to get it in the middle lane, even if you just say manage to get it, play it in defense mode, and then switch it to attack mode, you're going to be able to utilize your defense monsters a bit more, I think, from this, which overall means that the consistency is going to be better. You're going to be able to play this more effectively and get more use out of it, more like power out of it from its stats. So yeah, I think this is just an overall buff to Leviathan Dragon. I think it's definitely going to be interesting to try a Leviathan Dragon deck after this as well. And for our last one, we have Stardust Dragon, which has gotten just a buff all around. Its special skill is now all of your level 3 or lower monsters gain reincarnation rather than level 2 or lower. And its master skill also gives them immunity to destruction effects. This is pretty cool, because now you can actually play Stardust just not even as your ace. And it still has a pretty cool ability to it. And if you do play it as your ace, your monsters now gain immunity to destruction, which means if you're attacking the guy who, has gotten that card in the middle, they're now going to be immune to Dark Hole and Mirror Force and, Ring of Destruction and all of that stuff. So overall, this is a nice buff. I definitely kind of want to try out Stardust from this again. I'm still not sure you're going to play this as like not an ace. Maybe you might be able to play it as a special monster in like the Leviathan Dragon deck or another deck that has a lot of like level 2 or lower monsters, but yeah, hard to say if it will be worth it at that point, especially over like a Blue Eyes or something like that. But overall, there's been a lot of like very minor buffs to the Stardust deck. I am still not sure if that is going to be enough to see the Stardust deck being played more. I kind of doubt it. Right, so I have up here the suggested inventor deck. And as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 inventor monsters in the recommended inventor deck. There are actually 11 in total. There's also a Ajama Green. But this deck is recommending you have 10, which in a 19 card deck is going to mean that you have roughly like a 50% chance, or just over 50% chance to draw one of your inventor monsters. I have been playing this deck with 10. And there have been a lot of times where I have not drawn that 4th inventor monster and basically lost the game because of it, or not been able to fight back or do anything because of it. Usually I've had to summon my 7th Red Magician before that 4th inventor monster comes out, or summon it at the same time just in order to like push back the opponent. As you can see as well, there's also like a lot of weak inventor monsters. Quillbolt has only 800 attack. Backup Secretary has 1200. If you put in a Ajama Green, that's only 1000 defense. This monster here has a low amount. What putting it down to only needing 3 monsters does is it gives you that choice. It goes, hey, do you want to be more consistent? And I'll tell you exactly how much more consistent. I have the stats. So this is just a rough percentage. This is just giving you like a kind of average of how much more consistent you can expect. You will have drawn enough inventor monsters to hit that threshold by your basically second turn. So previously, you had roughly a 50% chance. This is just rough estimate. You had roughly a 50% chance of drawing 4 inventor monsters by your second turn with this kind of deck composition. That is not great. You definitely want it to be more consistent. You definitely want to kind of really push. I feel like with this kind of consistency, you never really want to push with an inventor deck. You want to you know, hold off until you have enough inventor cards, and then you can summon Seventh Road. Not to mention that is, you know, a 50% chance by turn 2 that you will get to play cards like Dark Revelation as well. It's not fantastic. And there have definitely been games where I have not gotten my 4th inventor card on my 3rd turn or even my 4th turn. And it has been issues. But now, the chance of getting 3 inventor cards by your 2nd turn is 58% on average. So this buff is essentially giving this deck an 8% increase in consistency, which is a lot better. When you think of it that way, there's when you think of it like that, there is that basically means roughly almost 20% of you're going to win, or you're going not necessarily win, but you're going to be able to get that inventor card in roughly 20% more games. It's yeah. So take from that what you will. An 8% increase in consistency on average. I think it was definitely needed. I'm definitely going to try out the inventor deck, or my inventor deck, after this this balance patch has come out, to see if it's good enough. If that 8% increase in consistency is good enough. One thing this also allows you to do is potentially take out one more of these kind of crappy, you know, like inventor cards, like Backup Secretary or this, you know, this card down here, and put in another good card. So you have a bit less consistency. You'll have 9 inventor cards out of a 19 card deck rather than 10. And that will obviously reduce your consistency, but that might only reduce it to about the same amount of what it was pre-nerf. But you get the advantage of now that your deck has slightly a higher quality of creatures. So really depends how you want to play it. I think it's an overall buff that was needed. And yeah, I'm hoping to see more Inventor decks on the ladder. I'm definitely going to try it out myself. I don't think it's going to put Inventor to be like top tier like some of the other decks. I think it's still like going to be like maybe A tier. Not quite S tier yet. But I think this is definitely a needed buff, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. Right, hope everyone enjoyed that. Those were my thoughts on the new buffs for Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duel. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Let me know if there's anything I missed, or if you had any opinions on any of these cards that are being buffed. I want to see them. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duel content, and I will see you on the ladder.